The dependency exists to a certain extent. It's there. Yes, we notice the inflation. Everything is getting more expensive. Gold prices are rising. Copper is becoming more expensive. Of course, this also affects printed circuit board production. About 60% of the world's printed circuit boards are purchased in China.
Do you have enough capacity for that despite all the AI orders?
Thanks to our portfolio of suppliers that has grown over the years, we still have capacity. It is indeed the case that the market is very tense, perhaps also due to all the major AI orders currently in China. It's overloaded and therefore demands extremely high prices. And that's how this current price difference comes about.
A warm welcome to our first video podcast, Electronics Unplugged. I'm very pleased that today we can share some background about Würth Elektronik and have a very special guest with us. My name is Markus Friesen. What's your name?
Thank you very much for the invitation. Yes, my name is Alexander Görz. I've been working at Würth Elektronik Group for almost 10 years now, specifically at CBT, at Circuit Board Technology. That means today we're talking about printed circuit boards, and my area of expertise is printed circuit boards from Asia.
That sounds very exciting. Okay, then tell us, what exactly is Asia production?
Asia production, that's what we called it, more than 10 years ago. We founded it in 2013. Asia production is the division where, together with partners from Asia, we manufacture printed circuit boards for all our customers around the world. And all of this in an organized framework with the known quality of results and reliably, and price sensitive.
Okay, how did you come up with the idea?
Well, it was like this. We have our German factories. That means printed circuit board plants in Germany. And their capacity is an issue. That means it's not worth investing in overcapacity just to be prepared for large orders. Instead, it's more about specializing in technology here, and in specific industries like aviation, aerospace, medical technology, for example, in Germany in connection with flex-rigid technology, such as at Starnberg in Niedernhall, for example. We here at Asia Production are dedicated to the process of manufacturing price-sensitive printed circuit boards, which are not necessarily safety relevant, ranging from high mix to low volume all the way up to exceptionally large quantities of circuit boards. And here we are simply flexible. This means that we offer the capacities in Asia that we don't have currently available in Germany for our customers.
How large are your capacities?
The potential capacities are truly unlimited, I would almost dare to say. Well, especially in China, what has developed over the last 30 years is enormous. It's the same in Asia, Southeast Asia as well. A lot has developed in Thailand. Vietnam is on the rise. Malaysia offers opportunities. So a lot is happening, a lot has happened. The capacities are not comparable to what we have in Europe overall, but that's exactly the issue. Yes, it was defined as strategically important. This was defined as a key point by the government in China several years ago. This causes these effects.
Okay, and now maybe you can briefly tell me something about specific Asia production and how it is actually organized.
Yes, Asia Production, as I said, was founded in 2013. By now, we have over 75 specialists there, 20 of whom are at the headquarters in Germany. Then we have just under 50 people directly in China, where the main business is really done. And we also have people active in India, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam.
How should I picture that? Now, in China, are the people actually sitting right there on site in production?
Almost. So we actually have some of our colleagues currently stationed right in the plant. In the plant, we have 13 partners with around 24 active plants. That means in the plants where we produce, we have also placed our resident engineers. They have full access to every step of the process. They have full access to the software. That means they can see and immediately take control, intervene, and monitor everything directly on site. And they also take over the final inspection in terms of quality. That is precisely the reason why we need such a large number of colleagues in Asia. Compared to here in Germany. 50 people, that sounds like a lot at first, but when you know that there's engineering behind it, that we have our own logistics team, that we have a 12-person purchasing team, and purchasing sounds simple, but it actually isn't. Pricing engineers, that means they are business people with a technical background, so they can accurately assess whether the price for a circuit board is reasonable, whether it's justifiable or not. They really dig deep and also negotiate on behalf of the customers.
So directly with our partner in Asia then?
Absolutely, exactly. We really go deep into it. And then the quality department gets involved, the quality person joins in as well. The auditors, etc. So there really are quite a few things we do differently compared to others.
Yes, you've already mentioned a lot of advantages that we have in Asian production. What would you say to a customer who is now considering ordering directly from Asia? So what are the actual advantages?
Well, we do have customers who switch to us from direct sourcing. It always depends on the volume because they don't necessarily get the prices that we actually get. For example, with 80 million in sales, which the Asia production division now generates, the purchasing volume is of course enormous, even if it's spread across several production partners. But we have purchasing power. Someone who might want to shift an order worth 100, 500,000 or even 1 million in total to Asia doesn't necessarily have that. Not necessarily. So that's already a difference with us. We actually offer better terms. I'd also like to point out our warehouse right here at our headquarters. That means we have our own warehouse for Asia production goods. Of course, it makes sense to place larger quantities with us as well, and the customer calls them off directly. That's also something the customer can't really handle themselves.
So in that sense, you also offer logistics concepts? Definitely. If, for example, I wanted to order a larger quantity, then I could also have it stored with you in the meantime.
Exactly. That means you can place a blanket order for a year and a half, for example, with production release for 6 months, 9 months. And then my whole team organizes that so that everything is started correctly and exactly according to the schedule, so the products are available right here when you need them as a customer. And above all, we make sure that whenever possible, we bring in the goods to us by sea freight. That saves a lot of CO2 and, of course, also reduces costs. That means we optimize together with the engineering team in coordination with the customer if needed. Not only the PCB design itself, but we are also able to maintain the pricing. We are able to cushion the price increases that are currently spreading in the market to some extent. And we are able to develop a good luck concept for you, tailored individually here.
You just talked about sea freight. What options do you offer there?
So, sea freight goes out as usual via Hong Kong. And of course, the transit time is currently affected because the Suez Canal cannot be passed at the moment, so only 5% of all sea freight that goes into Europe passes through the Suez Canal. Currently, it just takes about 7 to 10 days longer. The costs are still comparatively low compared to air freight, and as I said, I definitely want to address the CO2 issue again. The CO2 issue is definitely not to be neglected when it comes to printed circuit boards during transport.
Yes. Okay. Now, to me, it sounds at first as if we already have a relatively large dependency on our partners in Asia.
The dependency exists to a certain extent. It does. So the world market, of course, about 60% of printed circuit boards are purchased in China, directly in China. And then a very large percentage again in Southeast Asia. And so you can see that globally, about 75 to 80% of the market is dependent on the Southeast Asian and Chinese region. And that is, of course, quite alarming. But if you look deeper, you have to ask yourself, how did it come to this? So as I said, the Chinese government many years ago defined the printed circuit board as a strategically important product and accordingly provided the resources for large factories to be established. Large factories also mean lower costs. Large volumes are handled, different purchasing conditions for base materials, and so on. There is now a high level of automation and a high degree of technological know-how. This means that customers really have very limited options, but to place at least their substantial order volumes there. And then, if I go a bit deeper regarding your question about dependency, within our portfolio, we are not overly reliant on any single source because we have a diverse group of 13 different partners with 24 factories. And we always look together with my colleague. Manuel Meyerhofer, who is responsible for the technology and quality, ensures that we have comparable sources on board. That means I don't just want to have a unicorn, so to speak, that manufactures a very special circuit board, but I need 2 or 3 of them. In the event of a defect, it can be replaced. Or if a factory burns down, the worst can happen, you never know.
Has that ever happened?
It has actually happened before. Not during the period in which we have been active, but it has definitely happened to us as well. That can happen. The circuit board is not a simple product. We all know that. It is challenging, and that's why it's good not only to make yourself technologically independent, but also in terms of price, to have the ability to switch within the portfolio. That means if one supplier suddenly raises prices drastically and refuses to negotiate, then I need a good qualified alternative within my portfolio source, and that's what we can offer. And then I'd also like to say what sets us apart from others. After all, we still have our manufacturing in Germany. That means if a conflict were to arise anywhere in the world, I'll just mention Taiwan as a keyword, we
are living in uncertain times today.
Absolutely, unfortunately. Nevertheless, our German plants are still there. We can't handle huge quantities, but we can produce partial quantities. And it's always about helping the customer, in this case, helping you. We want to prevent a production standstill from threatening. We want to prevent you from losing revenue because you can't deliver. And that's really our job. And I believe the CBT group truly offers a unique concept on the market.
Suppose a factory in Asia is on fire. How is that handled? What's that process like for a customer?
A factory in Asia is burning, right? To answer your earlier question, we once had a flood at one of our suppliers.
Really?
Then we are informed ad hoc because, as I said, our resident engineer is on site at the factory daily.
Yes.
We get the information firsthand. We immediately have an assessment through the system of which circuit boards, which orders are at risk. And we also know how long it will take to rebuild that part of the factory, so to be able to deliver again from that plant. Then we enter into discussions with the customers through our sales units. The sales units are structured so that in every country where we have our larger customers, where we have larger volumes, we also have our own sales unit. That means the native speaker reaches out to the customers in their native language and explains the situation, and together a solution is found with us in management, and then a targeted relocation takes place. Like I mentioned before, whether it's returning to Germany with part of the volume, or maybe to a different manufacturing plant. Because a fire might affect one plant, a flood might affect 1, 2, or 3 plants, but not 13 plants. Accordingly, we are flexible in that regard. We also made sure that our partners are not only located in the south of Shenzhen, Bao'an, but also that we have a partner in Zhuhai and that we have partnerships further up north as well.
And how is it technologically? Can every partner also manufacture every technology in Asia?
No. At first glance, it is often advertised that way in Asia. But in reality, you really have to look into it in depth. That means in the qualification process, my colleague Manuel Meyerhofer will go into more detail on this. It is important that, from our perspective, based on our technical specifications and the customer's specifications, we jointly decide whether we trust the partner with this technology or not. If yes, you start to qualify them step by step. So no one starts out with us in the first year as a supplier at the very top, one comes in and has full approval for all technologies. Instead, we develop our partners.
And how is the sales distribution now among the individual partners in Asia?
Well, we have, out of the 13 partners, 5 are main suppliers. What that essentially means is that we have also tried to keep the dependency at a very manageable and sustainable level there. Currently, no single provider has more than 20% of our total volume. Or actually, I should say 15%.
Sounds good?
Yes, it does.
So how is it now? Let's just say something fails, you urgently need printed circuit boards, and you come to Asia production. How fast can it be done? What options do you have?
It depends on the technology and, of course, on the quantity. If I now need 30 square meters of a 12-layer board, then it takes longer, or if it's a flex rigid technology board. But if I now say I need a total of 10 square meters, I need, for example, 5,000 pieces of a 6-layer board, then we have the perfectly suited partner available at our fingertips so that we can also push through a QTA order, that is a prototype order or a rush order, together with our people on site. That essentially means that we are here to help. Yeah? We help the respective partner to quickly advance the engineering questions and to answer them together with the customer. We are then able to switch to highly efficient and fast logistics solutions. For example, there is UPS Express. But there are also, in the most extreme cases, hand carry service, and we offer that as well. That means there is literally someone in Asia who boards a plane with your circuit board in their luggage. The plane flies to your location, and we have a limousine service that then delivers the circuit board directly to your factory and hands it over directly within 36 hours at the latest. So the logistics are completely streamlined thanks to this hand carry service. QTA production is also possible. And so if things get really urgent, we might be able to reduce the lead time from 20 days down to possibly 6, 8, or 10 days. It depends on how complex the circuit board is and whether the material is available.
And how is it with standard air freight? How long does it take for the goods to arrive now? Probably from Shenzhen, China. Then coming to us?
So with Shenzhen, you have to say the goods are consolidated. It's the same with the other major partners, and then the goods are actually sent by delivery service to Hong Kong. Why to Hong Kong? Because most flights still depart daily from Hong Kong. If I look at Shenzhen Airport, there is significantly less flight frequency there, and I simply need daily departures. Several options to get my goods onto a plane, and that's what it offers me. Hong Kong. So Hong Kong is still the main route, which means I typically need approximately 1 or 2 days to get from China to Hong Kong. Then it takes several additional days to travel from Hong Kong to Frankfurt, and then, due to the customs clearance process, which of course always depends on customs, another 1 or 2 days until the goods finally arrive here in Germany and are safely stored in my warehouse. On average, we calculate for this entire process. Currently it's 9 days, but of course it can also be faster. I can send a direct shipment from Hong Kong straight to the customer, and then the customer handles the customs clearance themselves. If the goods are in Germany, Würth Elektronik is also allowed to take care of that for the customer.
Yes, we also talked at the beginning about your pricing engineers who are directly with the partners negotiating the prices. We're actually right in that period at the moment. Yes, we're noticing the inflation. Everything is getting more expensive. Gold prices are rising. Copper is becoming more costly. Of course, that also affects circuit board production. What's the situation, especially in Asia right now?
It's actually the case that the market is very tense. And it's also true that base material manufacturers have now passed on the price increases directly. To our partners, last year we were still able to absorb some of the price increases together and not pass them on to customers so drastically. At the moment, we already are, at the point where we also have to discuss these issues. This means our pricing engineer team looks at the circuit boards, examines the high runners. We go in and investigate thoroughly. Is this price increase actually justified, or could it potentially be a bit of a black box? Perhaps the partner has a partially underutilized factory and wants to buy orders at the lowest possible price. Or maybe, due to all the big AI orders, he is currently completely overwhelmed with work in China. And that's why he asks for extremely high prices, in other words, defensive offers, and that's exactly where
What is the current capacity looking like now, especially regarding AI? I mean, AI is everywhere. Each of us probably uses it every day as well. Do you have enough capacity despite all the AI orders?
We do have capacity, yes. Thanks to our portfolio of suppliers that has grown over the years, we still have capacity. But yes, I want to be completely honest here. The delivery times for the real experts, specialists in AI have gone up. That's because a huge order, for example, was placed with one of our partners. We're talking about $250 million at once, which also has to be delivered this year, with an annual capacity volume calculated in euros or US dollars of about 400,000. So you can see how full this factory is. That has consequences, meaning that orders from there are then passed on by this supplier to others on the market. But we really also have to keep an eye on that thing too. That means a relocation without our approval, without the go-ahead from our team in China, and in coordination with our customers, never happens.
Yes, so in that case, you are also very flexible. So that means you're not dependent on a single partner in Asia?
Definitely not. That's very important, yes.
Great, Alex. I really want to sincerely thank you for taking the time to speak with me. Yes, we also want to sincerely thank all of you. Alex, would you maybe like to give a quick preview of what we'll be talking about next time? Yes?
Gladly. Next time, my colleague Manuel Meyerhofer will be here, who is with me on the management board of Asia Production. Manuel's areas of expertise are quality suppliers, etc., technology, so it's going to be really exciting. We'll be diving much deeper into some topics that I touched on today together with Markus, so stay tuned. It will definitely be another really great topic, and yes, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for letting me be here today with all of you.
Thanks for coming, Alex. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time.